Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Joe, this is my sanctuary, and this is Exotics Chill, and today we are doing a very chill animal, so come on, let's check it out. So what we're doing today is Madagascar Hissing Cockroaches. I have a bunch of babies here, I have mom and dad and a few more nymphs inside this tank, and I'm going to be putting them in one enclosure that's more, has more space for them, just generally larger. So this is actually a subadult nymph. Not a nymph, but it used to be a nymph that I've raised since a nymph. And father is still in here. I got the father a little over 2 years ago as an adult. Buddy of mine actually dropped him off from Petco. Petco was going to get rid of them because its tank mate had died. Apparently, if the tank mate dies, they're not allowed to sell them. So he had given it to me to feed to a tarantula. When he dropped off the hisser, it was a surprise to me. I loaned him a critter keeper for him to use while he was cleaning some of his animals up. And he gave me that critter keeper back with a surprise hisser in it. It had spent the night outside because I forgot to bring the critter keeper in when he dropped it off. And when I found it the next day, I thought the hisser was a goner because they're from Madagascar. They like heat, they like humidity. It was neither of those things overnight. So I left him kind of on the table and I said, well, I'll take care of him later. Turns out later that day, he had woken up, come to, I guess the house was warm enough, he warmed up, he was hanging out on the side of the enclosure, and I felt very bad for him. I said, this guy's already been through a lot, tank mate died, he was going to be garbage, he spent the night outside, so I decided to keep him. And I kept him for a while, and I kept him in a single guy in his own enclosure. Some of those videos are on TikTok, some of my older stuff, my old man hisser. But this is 2 years ago. And I noticed that he was slowing down a little bit. And I posted on, other places, TikTok and Instagram, what to do about my little old man hisser. And everyone was telling me, get him a girlfriend, get him a girlfriend, get him a girlfriend. So I ordered him a pair of females, and I put them in the same enclosure, and everyone was happy, and he was still kicking. And they kind of got along, and nothing really happened for quite a while. And then a little while later, I noticed on the side of the cork bark of their old enclosure that kind of looked like this. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. This tank's a little nasty. Was a whole bunch of babies. So I said, oh, great, my old man hisser, and he's got more babies. So I took all the babies out of the old critter keeper, put them in this, and I put the old man hisser and his girlfriends in this enclosure. And of course, they keep procreating. These guys are now getting bigger. That was a little over a year ago. There's an adult female in there actually I'm looking at, and this guy came out of this one. So there's obviously sizes, all the ranges of sizes, all the ranges of ages. I got boys and girls. This one looks to be maybe a young male. Either way, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put them into a much larger enclosure. So let's get that together, and then we'll get all our babies moved. So as with any new enclosure, the first thing you're going to want to add is dirt. These guys do like to burrow a little bit. They like their moisture, so a good amount of dirt here will help keep moisture in. I'm going to start with a pile of dirt and add a whole bunch of water to it. I'm going to put a nice wet layer of soil on the bottom. I like to use what's called a jungle mix. I use that for most of all my animals. Spiders, centipedes, tarantulas, everything kind of stays on this. Sometimes I'll add in other stuff. Moving on, next thing we're adding is a golden pothos plant. I have a pothos in a toad tank that kind of grows rampant and out of control, so it's very easy to go ahead, get in there, and add a whole bunch of pothos just from my extras. Once that's planted in the wet soil, I'm going to go ahead and add some more of the normal soil. This is kind of on the drier side, but still has a little moisture in it. Digging out some of the leaves here so that some of the light can get to it and it can continue to grow and root. One thing that the hissers do love is a lot of climbing space and material, so I'm going to go ahead and add some cork bark flats here. They'll use this to hide. And this is what the enclosure looks like as the cockroaches are added. As you can see, we got one in there. It's easier to just kind of flick them out of the parts that they were stuck to from the old enclosure, this being a golf ball that was in the water dish so that they didn't drown, and the water cup itself they were in. I just kind of tapped them out of there, and they were happy to kind of scurry away. From there, I'm going to go ahead and add the cork bark from the other larger enclosure, and that has a whole bunch. I tried to get some of the roaches here to scurry off of it with a chopstick. They weren't having much of that, so I figured I'll let them do it themselves, and ended up leaving that chunk of cork bark in there for them anyway, and they seemed very happy with it. So this is the final enclosure, and if you listen closely, you can hear some hissing. Alright guys, that's it. Thanks for sticking around, and next time we'll do a few more rehousings. I got some isopods that need to go into a new enclosure, as well as some Samopeda slings, so stick around for that.